And welcome everyone to the newly rebroadcasted Loose Lugs Nuts TV. I am Jeff Wood, your host. I am going to be joined here momentarily by Ronald Klein. Uh, we are calling this segment tonight In the Garage. Now, I am Loose Lug Nuts. Ronald's Loose Lug Nuts. We're all Loose Lug Nuts. But this segment here tonight, In the Garage, brought to you by Loose Lug Nuts TV. And a big thanks out to Ron, my co-host here, and John Hedrick, our fearless leader. All this not possible without, you know, having faith in all of us and bringing this up. And we're going to be interviewing drivers hopefully every week, every other week, especially after our championship week. So let's all look forward to that and give them a big old good shout out there, Ron.
Well, thank you for the introduction, Jeff. Appreciate it. I'd like to thank you for putting this on. Thank you to John Hedrick for firing this thing back up. Thanks to all the iRacers we've got out there in Loose Lug Nuts and potential and future drivers in the Loose Lug Nut series. Great to be here.
All right, out in YouTube land, if you can hear us, if you're watching live, uh, say, "Hey Jeff, we're not hearing so and so real well." Let me know. I'm getting dialed in. I'm getting back. Let me know if we have some frame drops or whatnot, or if it's a little bit behind and I need to create a delay so it can load properly. Let me know out there in YouTube land. But we're gonna go ahead and get into this thing. Uh, it's exciting. We're at the end of the Loose Lug Nuts season, but coming up next Friday is the Christmas race for Loose Lug Nuts. The Christmas Clash, I believe it's the second one on the schedule so far in Loose Lug Nuts history, called the Clash. Ron, go
Yes,
ahead and
this is
tell us about
yep.
the
This year's
points.
the second year.
Yeah, go ahead and tell us about the points needed for this. Go ahead and tell us about the whole process of getting this Christmas race up and going.
So we've adapted a format for all of our special races that we put on. You need to be in the top 15 in points in either our truck series or our Xfinity series, which is obviously run on Thursdays and on Saturdays. Uh, if you are not locked in uh, to that top 15, we offer a consolation race before. We call it the Open. It's open to any loose lug nut member. You have a chance to get in on speed. We usually take the top five drivers, and occasionally we do add a couple extra positions that might be available through lowest incident points or fastest lap of the race, something like that. So that's pretty much our format when we do these special events, and it's worked really well so far. We've had two special events this season, and this will be our third. So really looking forward to this one coming up here, and it is actually this Friday night.
Yeah, good information there. And for all those out there, loose lug nuts, tuning in, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for tuning in live or post uh, the end of this. But explain a little bit for those maybe that find Loose Lug Nuts TV and In the Garage segment. What Loose Lug Nuts is all about. We talked about the beginning of this Christmas race here, but Loose Lug Nuts has been built over the years. And what is Loose Lug Nuts as a racing team and a competition league?
Oh, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I joined Loose Lug Nuts about a year and a half ago. Came over from another league, was looking for a little bit better racing. When it came in, the racing was actually very very good, good close racing, but not a lot of incidents. There wasn't a lot of problems. We went through a little bit of a problem last year. John asked me to step up and be an admin, and as much as I didn't really want to, um, I went ahead and stepped into that role. And what we have now at Loose Lug Nuts is a place where anybody can come and run. We don't care who you are, where you've been, what happened in the past. You can come out to Loose Lug Nuts and you can prove that you belong here. It's been a rebuilding process that has been slow and has really, really ramped up here recently. Very, very proud of what we've accomplished in a short period of time. I believe that we have some of the best racing you can see out there in any broadcast. And right now, our Thursday night series in the trucks is not broadcasted, which is a shame because we've had fantastic races in the trucks. But looking into the future, I don't want to get too far ahead because we're going to cover that later. But we're gonna be seeing some really exciting things with Loose Lug Nuts. So I guess if I was to sum it up, Loose Lug Nuts is a league for the drivers. I've said it before, and I will continue to say it. A little bit of history, real quick. I'm not going to go real deep into it, but I grew up on a racetrack. My father owned a racetrack, so I know what it takes to run a racetrack, and it's truly all about the drivers. Without your drivers, you don't have a racetrack. So that's kind of the way that I'm trying to run Loose Lug Nuts with the help of Brian Tribble, and of course with the help of and guidance of John Hedrick. So the Loose Lug Nuts is a league just specifically designed for the drivers. We ask for their input, they give it to us. So we're not, they're not gonna run the league, but we're gonna let them have a say in it. And so far, it's working, and we're gonna keep going down that path.
Great information there from Ronald. Like you said, in the past few weeks, there has been a tremendous uptick, and that's due to you and Brian and John just promoting the league successfully. And we've seen a lot of new drivers come in and say, "Hey, this is better than the public servers. This is better than this other league I'm racing," and it's been great. I've seen races even in the final stages of a chase race go from 13 drivers to 26 drivers. So it's tremendous. But like Ron said early on about the Christmas race, there's this top 15, and it makes you compete the entire length of the Loose Lug Nuts schedule per Thursday and Saturday, and now a future Sunday. Those top 15 drivers are now locked in for special events, and you don't have to race the invitational race that's open to anyone within the league. So, moving on, looking at that, we have our Christmas race coming up on December 14th, broadcasted by Max Speed TV. It's going to be tremendously fun, and I guarantee, there is nothing on iRacing as prestigious as this race based on the prize. The prize itself is tremendous, and it is a die-cast car custom created by John Hedrick at Over the Top Paints and Designs. And if you've ever seen his paints, they're out there, throughout Facebook, throughout iRacing, throughout any platform of racing on iRacing. It is hands down the greatest. And it's custom. It has your name, it has the event. So, and he sends it to you. He sends it to you out of pocket. And it's yours. And you get to show it off and say, "Hey, look, I won this." And this is our third event of the year, I believe. And so we're going to bring in here shortly a person who won the first event and is friends with the guy who won the second event. So to further introduce him, Mr. T. Rowdy.
Hey.
Yeah, there we go. The winner of the Halloween event. Give us an idea. What is it like to win one of these events?
Well, it means so much to me. It was a really, really fun race that night. I huge feeling. I haven't won these special events before, but it was like my very first one I've won this year back in October with the Happy Halloween M&M's Camry from Over the Top Paints and Designs, and we had a really good car in that race. We were good on the long runs, and it meant so much to me, and it was a really fun race to watch that night.
So, Jeff, if you don't mind, I've got the broadcast up, and I'm seeing this picture, and the one thing that you already pointed out, but what it's so special, and I think maybe Travis probably can talk about this more than I can, and really breathe more about it. The picture that I'm looking at, Travis, is this car that you're holding with your finger, in the air, the number one, which is actually really cool because the car is number one. That was our first special event. You're holding up your finger. You got your cool M&M's, your M&M shirt and hat on. Can you talk to us a little bit about the pride of ownership of that car, or what it meant to you?
Absolutely. I want to give a big thanks to John Hendrick for giving me that. It's a really cool die cast, and it has the one of the monsters for the Halloween. It's really, really cool. It has Max Speed TV on the car, the Wise Guys, and Over the Top Paints and Designs, and my name on the car, and it says winner on it, I believe. So yeah, it's a really, 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 really nice diecast for the trophy for that race.
Yeah, it's great, and we're taking a look now of a real close up of the picture. I believe it's Freddie leaning over, and it says winner Travis Browder. It's absolutely amazing, the detail that John put into this car. It's amazing beyond belief. And you won this race, and you didn't have to race your way in, but out there, if you don't finish in the top 15 in points, you have to race your way in. And we look to your good friend Cody Griffin, who actually on Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving race, had to race his way in to get even into qualifying perspective for the main race. And we'll get to where he won and we'll show it, but maybe try to give us a look at what it's like from the outside perspective of racing into such a prestigious race.
Oh yeah, it was really cool to see Cody Griffin win that race, and I do like that trophy too as well. It's really, really cool, and me and Cody Griffin actually worked together in that race too, and we were on the same team on that race. We worked together, and it was a lot of fun working with Cody, and he's a very good, consistent driver as well. It was congratulations to him.
And Jeff just brought that picture up. That is Cody Griffin. Obviously, says it right there on the screen. That's the number 2, the Thanksgiving Clash. It was a heck of a race, and I know it's got to be important. Of course, I want to win one of these things someday too. And there you go. We've got a change of the picture here, and just the detail that John puts into these trucks is just unbelievable. I can't thank him enough because he paints all my cars now. I used to dabble in paints, but I mean, why mess around and paint your own truck when you can have the best guy in iRacing painting it for you? He paints all my cars now, and I really got to say thank you. And I look forward to getting one of these diecasts someday.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's tremendous to get one of these, and I mean, you're looking at a potential second in one season, Travis. Are you racing in, or are you locked in?
I believe I am locked in for this Friday's Merry Christmas. Well, I don't remember where I was.
That would make it tremendously easier on you.
Locked in.
Yeah, so there from the admin, he's locked in. He doesn't have to race in. So that's great on your end. But there's a lot of guys that are going to race it in, and Cody Griffin did it. He went from, I think, a second or third place in the prelim to winning the race, based on strategy and good movements and misfortunes by others, obviously, but still the same. He won the race. He got the die cast. It's great. Now, Travis, you're locked into the top 15. You had to stay in the top 15. You were at one point first on the schedule. We know how that went, but looking ahead, looking at Facebook, we got these upcoming races starting next season. What can you tell us about what you're going to pick and choose, or what are you going to run full time with Inside Loose Lug Nuts?
Well, I'm looking forward running with Loose Lug Nuts with the future races that's coming our way in the future. And um, the Truck Series races, the Xfinity races, and the Cup Series races, and even more series that we'll run in the future. Hopefully I'll run full time. Hopefully we'll find some good races to run, and hopefully we'll get some wins and go for championships. And really, I'm looking forward to some more fun races to come.
Now, I can say that I have seen the schedule because I am working on it with John, and it is going to be a very interesting schedule. Going to be a little bit longer than this season, so I'm really hoping that we are going to have a lot of drivers that are going to be points drivers that are going to stick with us and make it what the end of the season is becoming. I'm hoping that we fire off right out of the gate that way and keep going. But I would like to ask Travis real quick. Uh, can you tell us, like when did you get into iRacing and how did you get into iRacing and what's your career been like in iRacing? And if you can think of, I mean, obviously winning the special event back in October, that was probably a big moment in iRacing. But can you talk about some of your bigger moments in iRacing? So first, start off
Absolutely.
with kind of when did you get into iRacing and kind of what started your iRacing career?
Well, I went to high school called Palm Charter High School, and then one of my friends showed me iRacing at the school. It was really really cool to see, and the racing is very very realistic and as in the simulator. So I started in 2013. I've been doing this for 5 years, and it's really really cool and experiencing a lot of cars in the simulator. And I'm really been enjoying it, and especially all the packages I've ran in the past, the Aero package. One of my favorite moments, I did win the Daytona 500 NIS series last year, the open setup race back in last February of last year, 2017. It meant so much to me. It was really cool. It really changed my career completely. It was really cool. One of my favorite wins in my career. And also a lot of races I've won in the past and league races and stuff, especially the Halloween race as well too. That's one of my favorites as well too.
Well, thank you for that information, and I'm going to hand it back over to Jeff. I think you've got the next thing you want to talk about.
Yeah, we're going to wrap it up here with Travis tonight, and we thank him for coming on. And this is our first segment back on Loose Lug Nuts TV and Inside the Garage talk. So thank you again, Travis, for your showing and your racing commitment with that Inside Loose Lug Nuts. We hope to see you back again in the future. I know you're going to be here. I know you're going to be a contender, at least on the side of the top 15 and maybe even the top of point standings. But you're always a person to beat when it comes now to our special event races.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Jeff and Ron.
Thank you for coming and sitting and talking with us, Travis. We appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you out there on the racetrack in the future. And I'm sure at some point we'll see you back here again.
All right. Thanks. Thank you, fellas.
All right. And with that, we say goodnight to Mr. T. Rowdy, Travis Browder himself. Moving on. Now, I don't know. I'm pretty sure Ron has seen this image. But we're gonna now move towards our Thursday series and talk about that a bit. It's winding out. We're at the end of the line here. We got the top four. I believe you're in the top four for at least trucks. So we're ending up at Homestead. What can you tell us about that coming up?
It's gonna be a race. I can promise you that. There's always when you come down to the last race this season, there's nerves, there's excitement, there's anxiety, there's just so many things going through your head. And luckily, I've been through a couple of these, so I'm hoping my nerves won't be as bad as they were the first couple of times that I was in them. An early mistake you can usually recover from, but with the racing that we have had here at Loose Lug Nuts, if we go caution free like we did on Saturday night in the Xfinity car, if you make a mistake, you might take yourself out of the race completely. So the Truck Series has been very, very competitive all year long, and I can't thank the guys, all of the drivers within Loose Lug Nuts enough. They bring it every single night, and sometimes there's a little bit of reckless driving, um, a little bumping and banging, and things do happen. But for the most part, it has just been phenomenal racing throughout this year. So going into Homestead, I am expecting to have one heck of a battle with the top four drivers or the other three drivers. I am one of the top four. So there's three other guys that I'll be battling: Brian Tribble, Randy Roberts, and Kevin Winter. Each one of those drivers can win on any given night. So it's gonna be it's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait.
Yeah, and possibly next week we'll have our winners of each series up here and the Garage Talk, talking with both of us. So that should be something to look towards. But even looking further ahead, we still have to announce it, and I know it's been on Facebook, but we'll turn to next season, so to speak. And in saying that, again, look at your top 15, stay in your top 15, even if you can only run so many races, because then you're eligible for those special event races. So right now we're going to be looking at the winter season Loose Lug Nuts Racing, the truck schedule, and these are on Thursdays about every week. So we're going to be leading off with Daytona. And I know Loose Lug Nuts isn't really a super speedway series, but in premonition of the 500 coming up, I imagine this was scheduled for it.
That is correct. And yeah, you are correct. We're not really a super speedway league, but the guys can get it done. There are many, 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 many guys in Loose Lug Nuts that can run at the front all day long. It's one of those races, just like in real life, where you can be the best car and get taken out. So it's kind of a crapshoot, but that is the schedule. The only special event that is actually posted up there is the All Star. We got a break that weekend. We're taking a week off, but that's going to be our All Star weekend. But for all the other drivers, we're pretty much going to be having at least one special event per month. So you can you can count on having a special event each month. And like you said, that top 15, if you're locked in, you're going to the special event. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, no wiser words from Ron there. Looking down the schedule, even if you're not a speedway, super speedway racer, you have Auto Club. You got Indy, Chicago's a mile and a half, Kentucky mile and a half, uh, and inside the chase itself is Pocono and Homestead, obviously to end it. But the one track that sticks out for me towards the end in the chase is Darlington. What's that idea?
This was a schedule that this is pretty much John's schedule. We kind of talk about tracks, and this is how he organized it. I think that it gives a really good mix of tracks in the chase. You're going from the tricky triangle to a mile and a half, then you're going to another form of kind of a triangle, and then you're going to an egg shaped super quick little, you know,
Yeah,
as
Darlington
difficult
bites.
as it
Yeah,
comes.
Darlington
The
is
yeah,
the worst
the lady in
sometimes.
black, the stripes. Yeah, they say if you don't leave Darlington without a stripe, you weren't running hard enough. And then we're gonna finish off at Homestead because you know that's where NASCAR finishes off, and that's where John has chosen to finish off each season, and that'll continue to stay that way unless something changes.
Yeah, and for all those out there that are joining us, yeah, I understand that we're having a little bit of lag, and that's on my end, and I will improve it. But thank you for letting me know. like I said, this is our first time back. We'll reassess after this one, rewatch it, see what's going on, see what the upload speed is. But continuing with our trucks, now before we move into the exciting news about the trucks, we do have the need for a sponsor, and that our other two series are sponsored. Let me put this first. It is broadcasted, so that's the news. We if you would like to sponsor, we're not saying, hey,
correct.
give us money. We're saying, hey, you want a little bit of airtime, maybe get your product or your business out there. Loose Lug Nuts Truck Series is open for sponsorship. So with that, we've had a successful Saturday broadcaster who's now moving to both Thursday and Friday, and that would be ASN. And I've been up in the booth with him. Very great guy, very competent guy in what he does, and it's going to be we're really glad here at Loose Lug Nuts to have him on for the Thursday schedule. And I think it'll be bringing an interesting next side is people will want to join and want to be seen and maybe promote what's on their vehicles or whatever it may be that brings you to Loose Lug Nuts. We thank you, and we thank ASN, American Sim Network, for coming on board for Thursday nights. And Ron, just give us a quick rundown, because I know you've been connected longer with them, and tell us a little bit about ASN.
ASN, we got together because of one of our drivers in Loose Lug Nuts referred us over to him, and we decided to go with him, give him a shot. He's done a pretty good job. He's newer to the scene. He's learning, but his broadcasts have been really, really good, and he continues to get better. Something that you notice with most broadcasters, when they start out, they stumble a little bit. They have small mistakes and whatnot, but as the more that they do it, the better their broadcasts get. So really looking forward to the partnership that we created with American Sim Network going forward with Matt Egan, and can't wait for next year.
Yeah, exciting future. Now, we've shown the truck schedule. It will start January 3rd at Daytona, so be prepared. It'll be live on American Sim Network. That's ASN. Look them up on YouTube. Like, subscribe, go back, watch your videos. It's all there, people, from the past Xfinity series and now on to the future for Thursday and Saturday, which is truck and Xfinity. And moving into that, we have our Xfinity schedule now going to be popping up here. Exact schedule, I believe, or is there's a little bit a difference to it there, Ron?
There is a slight change in one race because John put Eldora on the truck schedule. So I believe that was the third. I'm sorry, it was the 28th, I believe. So we will be going to Iowa with the Xfinity series, obviously, instead of going to Eldora, because we don't have an Eldora setup, and we won't be on dirt with the Xfinity cars. So that would be the difference there. Everything else is pretty much the same as far as I know. I didn't see any differences when I proofed it earlier.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, these probably are still set in stone, but maybe subject to change. Maybe a race or something in the world that creates an event to where you're like, oh shoot, I forgot about that, and now we got to go back and redo your schedule. I've been a part of that, and it sucks, and it's a possibility, people, so be prepared for that. It's still the same. I'm interested in the schedule, like you said, for Iowa. Like I said, Martinsville ending on both schedules for the last race of the non-chase format. Short track, I know they do it in NASCAR. It provides excitement. I think it will too here at Loose Lug Nuts, because the chase is predominantly more interesting with inside of an iRacing league, in my opinion, than it is right now in NASCAR. So let's give a little look at Martinsville, Ron, and tell us how you think, because the points are going to be so close for those top 8 or top 10 or top 12, whatever it may be.
Well, from my perspective, I've got to get busy right away. I mean, I've got to have the season of seasons from the time that we hit Atlanta to the time that we leave Chicago. I have to, personally looking at it, I have to build up a points, not lead, but I have to make up enough points to where I can start to kind of settle for myself. I'm not a great road course racer, so Watkins Glen is going to be one of those races where I've got to get everything that I can without making mistakes and putting myself behind. And we'll go to Vegas and I'll be okay there. I think I might do okay at Iowa, but the short tracks besides Bristol are not my favorite. So actually backing up 1 week, we're at Milwaukee right before Watkins Glen. So Milwaukee and Martinsville are going to be a couple of tracks that I wouldn't say that I'm going to struggle with, but they're definitely not my best tracks. I love going there. I love racing those races, but those are challenging racetracks for me. So, and I'm sure it's probably the flip for other people. You know, they can't wait to go to Watkins Glen, and that's the great part about all of these different tracks that we have is that, and from what I've seen in this series, there are some guys that can run up front almost every weekend, but they're not winning every weekend, and that is something that has changed from seasons prior, where it's not the same person winning all the time. So I think that the schedule is you're gonna see a lot of different winners this year. I think you're gonna see a lot of variety with the track. Obviously, you see that there, and you're gonna see a lot of people like myself really focus and try not to make mistakes where we're good, and try to get away or get out of tracks or come away from tracks with the best possible finish.
Yeah, and that's true for all drivers. And like I said prior, Thursday's open for sponsorship, but Saturday is not. And our league owner here has sponsored Saturday and all that comes with it. So Over the Top Paints and Designs, go check him out on Facebook. I believe the link's in the description of the YouTube. So it's there. He has amazing cars. And here in a couple seconds, I'm going to show you a little picture of the Grinch Christmas car he's posted up. Now, this is up for anyone. I don't know if anyone's claimed it yet, but it's up for anyone from what I believe.
That's funny. That one's claimed.
That one's claimed. But look at it. I wish I picked one that wasn't claimed yet. Did you claim it, Ron?
I did. As soon as he posted it, I said I wanted it.
That was my favorite one out there, because you know the Grinch movie has just dropped out in theaters and is a big hit for this holiday season. So just looking at it, look at the detail. I think the number may be a little bit off on it, but the other detail, the hood, the Grinch right there in the rear quarter panel is amazing. With him outstretched to get that little orb. So it's pretty great, and I can't wait to see the Christmas cars that are going to be on the track for our Xmas special event.
Yeah, and John has posted pictures of all of the Christmas cars that he has, and he takes requests too. That's something that I'm sure people in the league know. If they don't, John will paint cars for league members for a reduced, if not free price. So make sure if you want, if you want to get into the spirit of Christmas, ask for a Christmas paint job from one of the best painters in iRacing, and look your best, man.
Yeah, it's all about looking the best. I mean, we've had Halloween themes, we've had Thanksgiving themes. Now we're on to Christmas. Over the Top Paints and Designs, people. Check him out, like I said, on Facebook. Hit him up on Messenger if you need to. Sorry, John, but hit him up on Messenger if you can't get a hold of him. He has Over the Top and Paints and Designs is its own Facebook page. So just leave a note there that, hey, I'm looking for a paint. He'll get contact with you, if you're within the league, race a while. He'll notice you, and you may get a free paint job there. So that's always a plus. So Saturday schedule up, sponsored by Over the Top Paints and Designs. We got the Xmas coming up. Now, this by far is the most interesting development within Loose Lug Nuts. And this is the Sunday racing schedule of the Cups car on Loose Lug Nuts Racing. And similar schedule again. Tell us about the differences, Ron. Not too many differences, like you said, maybe from the Xfinity series to this. But I do see a Texas in there, so that's promising.
Yep, a slightly different schedule. Again, just a couple. We're not going to Iowa. We're going to Kentucky. You saw Texas. I don't recall what the other one was because I don't have it up in front of me right now. But the big change, big difference here is we had a Loose Lug Nut member step up and knows how to make setups, has the time. Obviously, with my admin duties and whatnot, and just the racing itself and a family, I don't have time for that. But this person said that he has time for it. He's going to make a setup for each one of the races. That way we have good drivable cars. I'm sure many people out there know iRacing setups, if there is one available, are generally not the best. Usually the car is tight in, which causes a loose off condition, which causes a lot of spinning, or the car just is too tight and won't turn whatsoever. So we've got someone that has stepped up, said that he's going to do the setups for us. That's why we're going to go ahead and try this new Cup series. I'm looking forward to it. I've raced the Cup cars before in open setups, never really had the best setup, but could be, I could be in contention, but never really, a serious contender. So really looking forward to this, because this basically takes someone who can do a setup, make the car drive, and it becomes a fixed setup for everybody. We're all going to run the same setup. We all should be able to drive the cars without spinning them out, unless you're just being overly aggressive. So this is something that John and I had talked about for quite a while, and it is now going to come to fruition, and it's going to be broadcasted by Max Speed TV. And I'll let you tell the viewers why and how.
Yeah, I mentioned that there, Ron. Broadcasted by Max Speed TV. Now, Max Speed TV is one of the highest rated across the board on iRacing at the moment. They're always on Portal for iRacing, and they have a lot of people involved within Max Speed TV and other leagues. So we're especially thankful for them coming over, broadcasting our Sunday series for the Cup series. Is going to be tremendous. They're great people to work with. I've worked with them before. It's exciting news coming forth with Max Speed TV, and it's a long season. They're going to be here. They're going to provide great viewership for Loose Lug Nuts, and maybe even bring in some new drivers and mix things up, and which is always exciting on the racing front. And they are still going to be broadcasting our event races. So, again, on Max Speed TV this Friday, December 14th, we will be live and ready to go. So stay tuned, like and subscribe on their channel. And a big shout out and thank you to them for continuing their support of Loose Lug Nuts. And not to further forget, Mr. Robert McFarland. Sorry we couldn't have you on tonight. Some miss-ups in the schedule, but he is sponsoring our Sunday series in the Cup car Top Shelf Auto and Detailing. I will get his link in the description soon as I get it. It's exciting. He's got his own race team. He's going to be having his team here competing on a regular schedule, at least on Sunday nights. I know he's here for other nights, but big shout out and thank you to Robert at Top Shelf Auto Detailing. Like I said, it'll be in the description soon, if not on this podcast, later on the next one. So you've known Robert longer than I have, Ronald. Let's give a little quick epilogue of him.
So I ran across Robert, I believe, when he was running TYJ Domino's League. Ran a little bit with him, and been in some special events in other leagues and whatnot. This year he made the move to come over and check out Loose Lug Nuts, and he and a few other drivers have liked it well enough that they continued to run with us, and he stepped up and asked if he could help us out in any way. He'd like to try to promote the league because he felt the league was a very good league. So a very big shout out to him and his team for having that faith in Loose Lug Nuts and stepping up and backing us and helping us out by getting us broadcasted on Sunday nights by Max Speed TV. That's pretty much what I know of Robert. I mean, I know him a little better than that, but that's the gist of it. So I really am thankful for everything that has happened this season. This season has just, I can't tell you how amazing it feels to go from a rebuilding phase in the middle of the summer to adding another night with the Cup cars and being broadcasted by all 3 nights. So it's been tremendous, and I can't thank Robert at Top Shelf Auto Detailing enough, and I can't thank John Hedrick enough for putting his faith in me. And got to give another shout to Brian Tribble. Brian Tribble has made my life much easier than it could have been by stepping up and helping out and being the admin that he has been.
Yeah, big shout out to those guys again. The Sunday series, sponsored by Top Shelf Auto and Detailing, or Auto Detailing, I should say. Not to misconstrue his business, but we'll move on and we'll look again at the final time before we bring in our final guest. This is the winter season 2019, and Ron said after a rebuilding phase, we're going in and sponsoring. We got the Loose Lug Nuts Racing Series on Saturdays in the Xfinity Series. We got the Loose Lug Nuts Racing Series Truck Series on Thursday. Remember, Max Speed TV on Sunday, ASN, the American Sim Network on Saturday and Thursday. It's got an exciting future in Loose Lug Nuts for the winter schedule. We hope to see everyone there. And with that, we are going to bring on our final guest tonight. And looking back this past week, he won both races at Kentucky, both in the truck and the Xfinity car. So he had a tremendous week, and I believe he even won a week prior to that. So welcome, Keith Haney, in the number 87 car with inside the Loose Lug Nuts.
Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
We got a little picture up here on YouTube for you. It's of your car. First off, tell us what it is to win a full week. That is right now Thursday and Saturday within Loose Lug Nuts at the same track.
Man, hey, it's hard when I race with these guys. There's too many good guys out there, and if you ain't on your game every week, you're not going to win one. But just so happened Kentucky, it's always been good to me. I don't really know what it is about Kentucky, but it's always been a good track for me. I'm not going to say it's one of my favorite ones because I don't really like to drive at it that much, but it seems to do me good. So it kind of fell at the right time, that's for sure, because I needed it.
So speaking of needed it, I'm gonna jump in here for a moment here, Jeff. Keith, did you know going in that if you won, you were moving on? Because it seemed like a lot of people didn't know.
No, because I wasn't for sure. I wasn't for sure where I was at in the points for 100%. I forgot to check the going in where I was at, and I didn't know for sure if it was a win you're in type of thing or if it was going to be a points top four in points after that. But all I knew was I needed a win 9 times out of 10. So man, God, I tried. That was the hardest I've drove in a very very long time.
Well, first of all, a huge congratulations from me. And this is very difficult for me to say because by you winning the race, I actually needed Devin Armstrong, who finished second in that race. I needed Devin to catch you. Had Devin caught you, it would not have pushed you into the final four. I would have made the final four. But regardless, it was such great racing. I couldn't be mad about it. I
Ronald,
I
I'm
sat
so
down
sorry.
after. No, don't be sorry at all. I sat down after the race and I was a little bit bummed out, but then I started thinking about the race. And then I went back and I watched the broadcast and we had 26 cars out there on that track.
I know.
26 cars out there ran for 100 laps.
No yellow.
No yellow. And you and Devin and I in the first half of the race, I had problems in the second half of the race. Not sure exactly what it is. I am going to speak to the whole group of loose lug nuts in both nights, Thursday and Saturday nights, things to watch out for just in case it did happen. I don't want that to happen to somebody else. But in the beginning of that race, you and Devin and I were like glued to each other. And
Yeah.
then, man, we hit the halfway point and something happened with me. I'm not,
Yeah, what
like
did
I
you
said,
do
I'm not,
different, Keith? What did you see
I,
different
yeah,
than
what
Ronald
did
may
you
have?
see? Or yeah, did you change something? Did you do something different? And you don't have to tell us what it was, but did you change something, or were you running the same from start to finish?
No, I definitely changed. Because right there in the beginning,
Don't tell us your brake
you,
bias. Don't give that away, man.
I, Ronald ran away, and Ronald was gone, and he kept gaining. I was watching my relative, and Ronald every lap was gaining further and further. And this is after me and everybody's got single file, and I was running behind Devin, and Ronald just kept running faster and faster. So I was running a little higher, and I felt like that's really where you wanted to be for with that tight car was up high. But Ronald running down low, especially in 3 and 4, Ronald had a really low line in 3 and 4, and I kind of mooched off that line, I guess you could say, and I moved down toward Ronald. I didn't move quite as low as Ronald did, but I moved half a groove, if not almost a whole car length down, following Ronald. And I mean, honestly, that right there was for me the sweet spot. It was a fast groove and seemed like maybe a tire saving, not as an aggressive line on the tires also. And I always try to look for that sweet spot, that fast groove, but not so fast that you're hurting your tires too. And riding right there, chasing Ronald down, if I'm out front, I can't learn anything. I feel like the guys behind me is probably actually learning off of me. And man, I learned so much off of riding behind guys like Travis and Ronald and Nathan and Kevin. Man, you can learn tons off of just riding behind a guy and watching how he gets around that track. And you can change what you do during the race, and it'll really make a difference. And that's what happens Saturday night.
Well, I appreciate the candid response. I really do. I I tried everything once I figured out what I thought was wrong, but by the time I had figured out y'all were too far away, and I ended up just kind of burning the car up trying to catch you. But back to kind of what Jeff had alluded to earlier, you swept the weekend. you win the race on Saturday night. Now, unfortunately, uh, re- refresh my memory. Was it the Truck Series that you disconnected in and had problems?
Sure did, man. Right as we was gridding up, it just did something funny there where it just would not go into the car. It kind of just, whoever was talking, it kind of kept repeating the last thing that they said just over and over and over. And I had to alt tab out, and man, that took me out of the cup, the truck series for sure, I
Okay, yep.
think.
So I had a similar situation the Saturday night. I had a storm. I got knocked out of the race, came back in, and I was 3 laps down. So I kind of was in the same position as you. So, but the great part is, you, I know you didn't make it in the trucks, and it was questionable on the cars, but you came back in the cars Saturday night and just put on a clinic those last 30 laps.
Man, I tried so hard. God Almighty, I did. And man, if you don't if you don't go out there and kick everybody that's in the room, that if your simulator happens to be in a room with people, if you don't get everybody out of that room and have full concentration when you're racing with you guys, you're not going to win it.
Well, I would like to thank you for coming and racing with Loose Lug Nuts, and I would ask the question, what brought you back to Loose Lug Nuts? Just out of pure curiosity, did somebody reach out to you, or did did you hear something about us again? Because I know I had heard that you used to run with Loose Lug Nuts, so kind of curious about how you ended up coming back, and then you kind of your thoughts on how Loose Lug Nuts is doing and what you see in the future.
Man, I never wanted to stop racing whenever I did stop racing. And when I did stop racing, I kind of got involved in just a few other places, and it seemed maybe every time that I was in a league, your guys' leagues would be going on at the same time, and I never just could catch y'all at the right time. I'd either be finishing up a league, so I couldn't come, and um, I've just been keeping my eye on you guys, watching you guys, and man, I've always loved racing you guys because I know a lot of you, and that makes it a lot of fun. You don't really feel like you're alone out there on the track when you know a couple of names, regardless if you're really good friends with them or not. You just know them, from iRacing. And man, once I seen that, you guys, John and Ronald, you and Brian, I'd watched a few of the broadcasts, and I seen how some of the races was going, and my dad James Haney and my cousin Daniel Haney, we all used to race with you guys, and I asked them both, said, "Man, y'all want to go back and race?" And they all said, "Yeah." And Daniel right now he's running a type of, well, he's working a schedule that don't really allow him to be able to run because he works so late at night. But man, me and my dad, we've loved racing with you guys. It's always been good, clean racing, and now since you guys, I guess, rebranded, or you're not really rebranded, but you started back up. It's a totally different ball game now. It's so much better, guys. I mean, I'm proud to be a part of it, and I'm glad you allowed us to be a part of it. Me and Dad, after our races every night, we'll sit down and we'll talk, text back and forwards for hours about everything that's went on, and I mean, it's awesome, man. Me and my dad, we don't get to see each other that much, and you guys make it possible just for me to be able to spend a little bit of time with him, on here, and it's awesome, man. I appreciate you guys allowing us to come back. We love it.
Well, I thank you for that. I'm going to hand it to Jeff. I think he's got a couple last thoughts here for you.
Mr. Jeff, I see your light lit up.
All right. Well, he may be having a little bit of technical difficulty. Give him a chance to fix that, and if he happens to pop in, I'll let him go ahead and take back over. But I think he wanted to ask, kind of, what are your thoughts? And kind of spoke a little bit about it, but we're going to Homestead now, and In the truck series, you're just going to be racing for glory, for the win. But come Saturday night, you have to battle three other guys. You gotta battle with Mark Jackson, Jason Lance, and Judd Danielson, and just like to get your opinion or your feelings on Saturday night. What are you thinking, man?
Well, you bringing it up literally kind of got the heart to racing a little bit, and I mean, no lie, cause the Mark Jackson, Daniel Dudson, man, hey, those guys are fast. They're consistently fast too. No matter where you go, you can count on them being fast. Some guys got bad tracks, some guys have got good tracks, but it seems like those guys are really good at every track. And next week it's going to be I believe it's going to be a win situation. The champion is going to have to win that race. Just because it's going to be so tight between everybody, and I'm looking forward to it. Man, used to we could check the weather and we knew what we were dealing with, and we could set up a practice session and we could go practice on that weather, and now you can't do that. You could go practice at the track, but you don't really know how it's going to feel come Saturday night, which is really awesome. But man, it takes away that seat time to be able to go in there and really prepare for it.
Well, since you speak of that, actually, a popular thing that some guys used to do, and I had done it too, was, kind of do like a test session, see what the temperature is going to be with dynamic weather, and then the, go bump up the weather, maybe 10 degrees or so, get about 10 degrees hotter, and then go run. I had done that in the past, and I thought, it helps, but I think more than anything, just seat time, trying different lines, getting through it. Are those things that you're gonna do? Are you gonna put in some practice this week?
Absolutely, yes, sir. I've already put in some practice last night and today. Right before I jumped on the podcast here, I was actually running around Homestead. I've done a little bit of Las Vegas testing too for this Friday night. I'm looking forward to that. But yes, that's a good idea that you just brought up there. I never thought about doing that as far as going in there and seeing what it's going to be on dynamic and then backing out and changing it. But being you mentioned that, I'm definitely going to give that a try, because that's a really good idea.
Well, hopefully everybody out there that's watching and listening will catch that trick and do that as well. And I guess that's one of the benefits of being the guest on the show tonight. And for those that are watching and then those that will go watch, I think that you may be correct.
Man, hey, we kind of let out a secret tonight, I believe, and hopefully there's not too many guys that go out there, and hopefully Mark Jackson and Daniel and all of them ain't going to listen to that and go get any practice on me, because, man, I'm going to need all the practice I can get.
Well, I can tell you this, sir. The last big season that we had, dating back to, I think it was last year, was our big season. I thought I was out of the chase and whatnot, but I was able to make the last race, and I was not in the final four. But those guys had differing strategies, and a guy had a little bit of trouble, and I ended up winning that race. So I'm looking to repeat. I'm just saying, going in. Now I'm not saying that I'm gonna do it, but I'm looking to do it. And I'm sure that there are a few other drivers out there that wouldn't mind taking home that trophy at the end of the year, although it may not be the championship. There's a lot of hungry guys out there that would love to win. So we're going to give you guys all the room in the world. We're not going to chance getting into your way and ending your championship's hope because of something stupid. But you can bet that we're going to run you hard and have a good time there at Homestead.
Man, hey, we appreciate the respect for sure. You guys give tons of respect out there. And speaking of trophy, I haven't won one of those yet. John Hendrick gives off some awesome trophies, and my buddy Travis, he's snuck one in there on me. I believe he won the Halloween, and then who was it that won the
Griffin.
Yeah,
Cody Griffin got the second.
Oh
Yep.
my goodness, man. In both those races, I got smoked.
So we've got a huge week coming up. We're about to let you go here. I'm not sure if Jeff has got his
Oh yeah,
equipment
I'm
fixed or
fixed.
not. Okay, so we're about to let you go here. We got a huge or a huge week coming up. We got the Thursday night championship. Then we're gonna go racing for a physical trophy on Friday night with the Christmas race, and then we're gonna go to, well, as it stands for us right now, our big boy race is our Xfinity. Not taking away anything in the trucks, but the big boy race on Saturday night. Gonna Good luck to you.
God.
I hope the best for you on Saturday night, and on Friday night though, it's on, man. I want that trophy just as bad as you
Well, you ain't helping the nerves none calling Saturday night the big race, that's for sure.
do. Well, I hope I didn't get into your head any. I do appreciate you coming on and talking
Yes,
with us
sir.
tonight. Hope you have a great evening. Let Jeff
You
get
too.
any final words in real quick.
Yeah, big thanks to Keith Haney there. Having him on, like I said, he is a back-to-back winner of last week on Thursday and Saturday. Trucks Xfinity at Kentucky. He won both. Set him up for a great finish, at least with the Xfinity series. Big thank you, Keith. Final
You're
words.
welcome.
Final words going forward into next week.
Yes, sir. Hey, thank you, Jeff, for putting this podcast on. Donald, John, Brian, for putting on an awesome league. Robert McFarland, I hear he's doing, I believe, the Cup Series next year. He's sponsoring the Cup Series. Big thank you for that, man. That's awesome. I've always loved everything that you've ever done, as far as from Domino's, TYJ, everything. So we definitely appreciate that. God, guys, thank you for having me on here tonight. I definitely look forward to Saturday night and Friday night also. I want one of John's trophies so bad.
All right, Keith. Have a good evening, sir, and we'll wrap up here tonight, and we thank everyone for tuning in. Like I said, a little bit of drop frames, a little bit of a little bit of off time. That's all on my end, and I'll get it fixed. And we'll either bring it to you live or we'll bring it to you as an upload. We don't know for the future, but it will be there at least every week to every other week, and we look forward to it. Ron, you're in both those races next week. You're in the Friday race. The Friday race broadcasted by MaxSpeed TV. That's in the Cup car at Vegas. That's going to be a great race. Like you mentioned, we're running for a trophy. You get that special little die-cast car. Give us the times. Give us what we're looking towards for that Friday race.
So I'll just go through the whole weekend real quick. Thursday, 7 p.m., just like always. Friday will be a 6 p.m. for the open. 6 p.m. The room will open for the open. The race will kick off at 6:35. I'm not exactly sure. I would say it's going to be roughly 40 laps. That will the winner and the top five will advance. We may do a couple other positions. The main race will start at 7. The room will open at 7:15. We will go live at probably 7. What would that be? That would be 7:50 will be the actual start of the race. So, yep, looks like the banner will have to be updated. Didn't realize that was there. He may have carried that over from the last one. Also, on the Friday race, I'm not sure if we said this or not, but I want to give a big shout out to Robert McFarland at Top Shelf Auto Detailing. He is also sponsoring the Lugnuts Christmas race. So, Clash of the Champions 3, can't wait for it. I do run pretty well at Las Vegas, as I'm sure many other people are, so I feel like this might actually be one of my better chances at one of these things. Then we're going to move on Saturday, 7 p.m. Central. We're going to have Xfinity cars going live at 7:35, just like we have been all year long. And we're going to crown champions 3 different times this week, Jeff. We're going to do it on Thursday with the trucks. We're going to crown a champion in the trucks. We're going to crown a Clash of the Champions on Friday night. And then on Saturday night, we're going to crown and Xfinity champion. So it's a huge week here at Loose Lug Nuts. Can't believe that we've been talking here for an hour already. I've had a great time. And I'm going to hand it back over to you.
Yeah, Ron, thank you. It's been great being back, everyone. Sorry for the ups and downs. Well, not the ups, but at least the downs of this podcast. We're going to be back in multiple weeks, live or uploaded. It doesn't matter. We're going to get the information to you, have drivers being interviewed. I believe at least next week we'll at least have our champions and maybe a sponsor in here. So it's great to have those guys. Big thanks to Mr. T. Rowdy and the number 18, Travis Browder. We had Keith Haney in the number 87. Looking forward to see those drivers in the future. Like Ron said, come out, enjoy Loose Lug Nuts, everyone. This has been a great time here tonight, and who knows, maybe you're on the podcast next. You never know until we contact you, but have a great night, and thank you to everyone and everyone that made this possible. Good night, everyone.